Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Hey, we're live from Monterey, California. We're in the Central Coast, baby. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We're at the Free the Grapes conference, and we've got Melissa Muscedere stopping in, winemaker and winery owner at Muscedere Vineyards in Lake Erie North Shore. But we have a surprise. There is actually a winemaker here from California that is going to join us live as well. So we can't wait. Stay tuned.
Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, it's Wednesday, it's 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Welcome, welcome. A fun show. Yeah, you see, I'm wearing the suit. This is the speaker pass here. We just did a talk at the Free to Grape conference here in Monterey, Central Coast in California. Mira is very busy right now, opening wine, butchering the top. But yes. Great job. She just killed it. She absolutely crushed the talk. We talk about, guess what? Live videos. Get it? Welcome, everyone. I want to know where you're tuning in from. I want to know what's in your glass. It's Wednesday. I'm sure you have something pretty good. We are in California. Does it change the fact that I like Chardonnay? It doesn't change the fact that I like Chardonnay. I'm in Chardonnay country here in California. We brought a bottle of Chardonnay with us. We brought a bottle of Stratus unfiltered Chardonnay 2021. We traveled with us. We smuggled it in our luggage. And now we're going to taste our Stratus Chardonnay side by side with two California Chardonnay. We have a Santa Lucia Island Chardonnay, and we have a Mendocino Chardonnay. And guess what? We have the winemaker here who was at the conference, and he was like, yeah, I'll join you live. So we're going to bring the winemaker soon. Melissa is going to join us very soon because it's Muscedere week here at Carl's Wine Club. Orders are going bananas. I mean, we have a 6-pack for $135, which is absolutely crazy. 6 bottles of premium wine for that price. This is Lake Erie North Shore at its best, just for you guys. And we have some very exclusive pre-release just for the club, a 94-point Syrah. And guess what? Did you know that Lake Erie North Shore produced Nebbiolo and Barbera? Fuck yeah, they do. That's awesome. I can't wait. Melissa's going to join. We're going to talk about these very cool grape varietals. We're also going to talk about value because a $22 Cap Franc, 92 points, that's going to blow your socks off. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Cap Sauv, 93 points. Absolutely, like, bam. Like, I mean, I love that wine. The finish on that Cap Sauv is so incredible. And yeah, we're going to talk about the whole lineup. Stacy and Jeff are here tuning in.
Ooh, a side-by-side of Alluvia and Silica from Intersection U.
That tells me that the intersection order has arrived across the country. Un beau bonjour en français à tous nos amateurs de vin francophones, la belle région de Québec, la région de Montréal, de partout au pays. Tous ceux-là qui nous suivent en français, un beau bonjour. On est en Californie. On est en train de porter le suit. Hein?
It looks good.
Le suit. L'habit, on vient de faire une conférence à Monterey, en Californie. C'est la semaine de Muscedere Vineyards en Ontario, de la petite région de Lake Erie North Shore. Donc, on va vous parler de ça. Mélissa vient nous rejoindre. Ouais.
Une petite surprise.
Une petite surprise?
Surprise.
Okay.
There you go.
Oui.
Yeah.
On a un producteur de chardonnay californien qui va nous joindre en direct avec nous autres. Fait que,
Okay, so we were going to blind taste Carl on the Canadian wine that we brought. It was pretty hard to hide it from him, okay? They had to open it at the border, I don't know what. So he knows that it is a Stratus Surly Chardonnay, which in hindsight maybe was not the best choice for me to pick for blind tasting because
I mean, how can you miss that, right? I mean,
that's pretty clear that that's a Surly and has not been filtered. And he knows which wineries do that. So that would be a pretty easy blind tasting there. But the idea was to blind taste Carl on a Canadian wine and a California wine. We're all about the local wine experience. So we're in Monterey. So they're known for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Well, get this. We went to the local liquor stores and they did not have local wine. They did not. So
I mean,
like we think we're special in Canada that we have this problem, but I guess this problem is everywhere.
My Google map led me to the wrong liquor store, I guess.
I guess so,
I
right?
guess so. I guess so.
But we're in luck. We are here with over 500 winery owners and winery people that work at wineries. And Daniel is right here with us. He's a winemaker and he is going to join us for about 5 minutes, just a quick 5 minutes, because Melissa Muscedere is going to be in the green room any second, and we'll get her on in a few minutes as well. But no blind taste really, because I mean, it's pretty clear that you can tell which one the Canadian wine is. But instead, we are going to maybe have Daniel taste his first Canadian wine. Daniel, have you tasted Canadian Chardonnay before?
I don't think so. No? Okay.
Okay, so it's right here for you. I have not tasted these ones. These ones are for you. So Daniel's coming on with us.
There you go. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's all cool is that Daniel's partner, was sitting in our conference room, was listening to our talk, and I asked the crowd, which kind of Chardonnay should I get? And I ended up with the winemaker. Daniel, welcome. Thank you for doing that. This is awesome. This is awesome. So now I have a bottle of your Chardonnay. So let's talk about your story briefly. You're a winemaker. You make wine in Sonoma County, correct?
Yes.
So your brand is named Daniel.
Yes.
There you go.
That's it.
And what do you own a vineyard, or do you source from different vineyards in the region?
So my day job is making wine for quite a few other people, and this is just a little family fun thing. We only make about 350 cases a year. We have one little estate vineyard of Fiano, because we love everything Italian. My wife's Italian. And we source from other little vineyards. They're all very special vineyards that I've worked with other people through the years. And then when we started the Daniel program, I kind of went back to these and told them I wanted to work with them again.
That is absolutely outstanding. So a large 45 cases production.
Yes, that's 2 barrels.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, we're used to that in Canada. I mean, like small batch wine, it's basically what our producer do. So it's incredible. So first, we brought a bottle of Stratus Vineyard from Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is the extension of the Finger Lake region in New York, upstate. We have Garrison Cool here, our friend at Fox Run Vineyard in the Finger Lake. Garrison, thanks for joining us. This is awesome that you're here. He was doing the talk with us, so thanks for joining us. Mira, can you pass me please the bottle of Stratus? Daniel, I want live here. We're gonna have a Sonoma winemaker tasting Canadian wine live with us. So
thank you.
Cheers. Obviously, I'm fine unfiltered.
Merci.
Ça fait plaisir. Ça fait plaisir. Oh, nice French here.
13 years in Belgium.
Ah, le deal. On peut discuter en français si tu veux. That's crazy. I love it. I love it. So did you learn to make beer before you started making wine?
No, and I still don't know how to make beer. It's actually a hope and a dream for me someday. I think I'm going to start small.
Yeah.
Kind of like my brand.
There you go. Well, cheers. Okay, I want to know what you think about Stratus Vineyard here at Niagara-on-the-Lake.
Delicious. Great fruit. Very bright.
Bright and crisp, right?
Yeah.
Cold climate Chardonnay. I think Garrison knows everything about cold climate production. Well, now we're going to try to find which one is yours. I mean, I have no, like now Mira's asking me which one is the Santa Lucia Island versus the Mendocino. So Sonoma. I mean, obviously on the nose, you know
Yes.
which one is yours. And looking at his hand movement, I kind of assume that it's the middle one here. So nothing sommelier scientific here.
You guys didn't give me a spittoon. You kind of do to me. This is how he keeps up this energy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Different style here, though.
Very. I'll give you a hint. Ours has no new oak.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So
100% neutral oak.
100%.
Fermented. Yeah.
Okay.
We're all about the vineyard and the grape. So.
There you go. So we got it.
All guessed. Cheers.
Cheers. I mean, so Daniel's saying there's no new oak in there, so that was pretty obvious. My middle glass had that much more pronounced oak smell, so I went with the right one. And okay, it's crisp. What I like in there is there's a line of minerality who comes through the wine and finish almost with a little white pepper, but it's charcoal light like sensation. I really like the minerality level into that. Lime, lemon. It's crisp. Oh, this is zingy. There's so much energy into
You
that.
could have written our sensory notes. This is great. Take some notes. Take notes.
Hey guys, we have a 93, 94 points right in the glass here. This is absolutely freaking sensational.
It was actually 94 points from suckling.
See? So
There you go.
there you go. So I just got the news here. Breaking news. James Suckling rated 94 points, the Daniel wine here. So I guess that I have kind of a similar palate as Mr. Suckling himself. No, so 2021 vintage. Tell me a little bit more about your vintage in your region, because we had in Ontario was a fantastic growing season all the way up to mid-September when rain came down strong and barely didn't stop. So we had a great season in Ontario and a challenging harvest.
Yes.
Well, how was your vintage for you?
Ours was pretty good. I would say the 22 was better. 21 had some really hot. It was a really hot summer.
Okay.
And so typically this wine has even more acidity. But this vineyard is up at 1,300 feet elevation, looking down at the ocean. So very temperate because of its proximity to
Wind.
the ocean. Yeah.
It is absolutely fantastic. So all neutral oak.
Yeah. Oldest barrels I could find. Indigenous fermentation.
Okay.
I actually stopped them malolactic halfway through because I liked the balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not too fatty. That's
Yeah.
why we find so much energy in there. It's vibrant, it's energetic. But to me, what I really love, it's not in too much of tropical fruit. It's more on citrus fruit, a little bit of yellow plum into that. But I mean, this is absolutely wonderful. I love the complexity in the finish. I really thank you so much for joining me. It's as impromptu as it gets. I mean, it cannot be more impromptu than that.
Our hotel room's like 3 over.
And I mean, now tasting Canadian wines with a California winemaker and tasting a sensational Chardonnay here. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Woohoo! Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. I love that wine so much. 94 point James Suckling. Boom! Zoom. I'm gonna wait for Mira here, and she can get me Melissa Muscedere on, because we're featuring Muscedere Vineyard tonight. And thank you guys,
Thank you.
and good luck. And I hope that we can stay in connection. Okay,
Thanks, guys.
perfect.
Thank you.
Are you?
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
right
We'll set
there,
you up on a
yeah.
wine tour in Ontario.
Here we go.
Take care.
Awesome.
There you go.
Well,
Melissa might be half a bottle down by now, so there you go.
shall we bring Melissa on? So this is Melissa Muscedere with Muscedere Vineyards, Lake Erie North Shore. We're so excited to have Melissa back on because this is one of our member favorite wineries.
Melissa, good evening.
You guys look so nice tonight.
Thank
I didn't dress for
you.
the occasion.
There you go. You know,
I
like,
just came from our talk. We had to look presentable, you know?
I know we had our American friend to impress, right? To bring a Canadian
We have to
knowledge.
represent, right?
You cleaned up
But that's
very
absolutely
good.
crazy, because Daniel's wife is Italian.
Oh yeah,
And,
I heard. I was listening.
She was at our talk, and I asked the crowd, it's like, I need a good Chardonnay. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, my husband makes Chardonnay. He's right here. Do you want him to come? I was like, what?
I love it. He was in the room with you guys. Was perfect.
Right?
You couldn't have asked for a better
I know. It's absolutely just crazy. Like how everything unfolded. And I tell you one thing, this wine, that Chardonnay is holy smokes. It's really impressive. So like awesome. Melissa, thank you for joining us. We have we're featuring your wines for the second time around now, but we've done different things throughout the last couple of years with you.
Yeah.
First time, I remember, like, I really fell in love with your 2017 Syrah. It's a wine that was a revelation to me. That's how I really discovered Lake Erie North Shore wine. And since then, tasted multiple of your vintage, and this week, half of what we have on the lineup, it's not even out yet. It's not even on your website yet. I mean, you're treating us with an incredible offer of pre-releases for our members. It's so cool. So thanks for that. And I want you to start by talking a little bit about your family, the family story. How's the Muscedere family came up with you and your brothers, the vineyard, and the Nona story and all that. Okay.
I love this story.
So the winery actually started as a conversation between my two older brothers. So it was back in the late 1990s. So they always yell when I tell people this, but I always tell people they're 16 and 10 years older than me. So it wasn't like two children saying, oh, we're going to open a winery. So Talks of a Winery actually started back in the late 1990s. My dad was retiring around the same time. So what we did, I heard you guys asking Daniel. So we actually planted our first 5 acres, because in Ontario, for everybody that doesn't know, in order to open a winery in Ontario, you need at least 5 acres of producing grapes in the ground. So we planted our first 5 acres back in 2002. And what we did in 2002 is we planted a bunch of test runs. So we planted a little bit of everything just to kind of see how everything would grow on our soil. My parents came from Italy back in 1970. And my mother's father, so our Nono, managed vineyards his whole life in Italy. So when my mom called her dad back in 2000 and told him, oh, the boys want to plant grapes in Canada, his reply was, you people are, pardon my language, crazy, because he's like, it's cold there and you have flat ground. So one of the first things we actually had to do was we had to put drainage in every single row of our vineyard. And we actually, when we put our first 5 acres of grapes in the ground, we put in a wind machine at the same time. And the reason we put in that wind machine is because that wind machine will help us in the cold of summer, but it also helps us with a late frost in the spring once we've had bud ripe. So we did our first 5 acres in 2002. What we learned from our first 5 acres is we grow reds really, really well on this site. So in 06, we did the 7 acres coming across the front, and we focused on reds. So we went Syrah, Merlot, Cab Sauv, Cab Franc. We finished off with some Sauv Blanc. And then that same year, we actually put in, so my brothers were looking for what Italian varieties could we grow on site that we would have a long enough of a growing season to grow. And the 2 varieties that they ended up picking, and we did a half an acre of each of them, were Barbera and Nebbiolo.
And this is because your family is from the Piemonte region, or?
No. So we are actually from the Ciociaria region. So we're between Rome and Italy.
Okay.
But based on varietals that we could, number one, get to plant, and varietals that could be recognized in Ontario and would grow with our growing season, the 2 that we chose were Nebbiolo and Barbera. So the Nebbiolo, we did our first one of each of them in 2017, and then we did our second one in 2020, which is the one that we're doing as part of the pack. The Nebbiolo, we went 100% single variety, but the Barbera, we blended in 40% Cab Sauv. And the reason we blended the Cab Sauv in with the Barbera is because generally Barbera is a higher acid grape. So since Barbera is a higher acid grape, what we did is we took the tannic Cabernet Sauvignon to balance off that acidity on it. So those are the 2 Italian varieties that we have planted on site. So if it was up to my brother, we would probably make 100% reds on site. We do make our whites as well, and we do enjoy our whites. Our rosé is very popular as well, because one of the biggest things that we've always done with our rosé since we first started making rosé in 06, we've gone drier on our rosé. So our rosé.
Oh, I mean, whoa, and I have to say it's bone dry.
Yeah.
Like this version of the 2023, 95% Merlot, 5% Vidal. I mean, the Vidal brings a very interesting element here as well. So light on his feet. There's not the weight of sometimes we taste Merlot rosé where I feel the acidity is lacking on the mid palate. This is bright. This is cranberry. It's crab apple, and there's a little hint of floral notes, but also a light tannin on the finish with ginger. Like this is absolutely fine. I give it 91 points. I fell in love with that wine for $20. Are you kidding me?
So that's actually one of our best sellers. And I think the reason that people have kind of gravitated towards the rosé is because we've always done it in that drier style. So unfortunately for some people, we don't really make anything that's sweet. But yeah, we also only make 2,000 case production. We basically sell everything straight out of this door. If any of you have ever been here, I know from the first time we did our pack back during COVID, Sam from BC has been to the winery twice. And when I was in BC this past summer, when you were not there,
I know,
a wonderful tour guide that took us around and showed us the ropes around BC when we were there. So we've definitely built some relationships, and it's just, and the average wine enthusiast, well, he lives near me, so he comes to visit regularly.
So Melissa, I have to tell the story because early on when I know. So when the club started, Mike was one of our earliest, like one of the first 10 people to sign for Carl's Wine Club. And I remember back then, every time we had a sign up, we were doing a dance. Yeah, a new member. So, and Mike sent us, probably like a month after we started the club, I got a package at home with a bottle of Muscedere 2018 Meritage. And he said, have you ever heard about that winery? And the little notes, I'm like, no. So tasted the wine, I blew my socks off.
And it took a while to taste it, honestly. Carl was a little suspicious. He's like, Lake Erie North Shore, really? And let's let that sit for a bit. Let's think about that. And then when we finally tasted it, he was like, holy smokes.
And that's when I reached out to you for the first time. So, now that whole thing tonight, we have to say thank you to Mike, the average wine enthusiast, for the first connection all the way back at the beginning of the club. And here we are. You came to BC. We weren't there. Shame on us. I know. My brother got married the same week that you came to BC. I told him, don't do that. You can't. But he didn't listen. So
I know you did a terrible week.
I know. So we're now, it's our second time around. So we talk about the rosé. We talked about, so the Riesling, like you mentioned, you don't make sweet wines. Your rosé is very well balanced. Like we're talking here, like under 7 grams of residual sugar, probably. I have someone from the Finger Lake region sitting here in the room from Fox Run Vineyard, where they very specialize in Riesling as well. So it's interesting to see here where the whole connection, what's happening with our American friends. But so white, you have a little bit of Chardonnay as well on site. I saw on your website. I haven't had the chance to taste any of your Chardonnay, but
like this much. So,
like this much.
Like this much. So Chardonnay was actually part of our first 5 acres of planting. So the last 2 white varieties that we had put in were Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc. So when we went to go replant in 06 and we focused on reds, we were choosing one of 2 whites to finish off with. And the choice was, do we plant Chardonnay or do we plant Sauvignon Blanc? So at the time, it was, what are people going to be drinking 10 to 15 years from now? At the time, the other decision that went through our head was, well, there's a lot of people with Chardonnay planted, but there isn't a lot of people with Sauvignon Blanc planted. So we actually did the last acre of Sauvignon Blanc. So we have the little bit of Chardonnay from our original test plot. And we did do a Chardonnay. We just bottled it this past April, but we only did 22 cases of it. It's a 2021 Chardonnay. And that is basically the end of Chardonnay, like the end of our Chardonnay, because we've basically transitioned over to doing Sauvignon Blanc.
Melissa, I'm opening the Carl's Wine Club Hall of Fame shelf. I think maybe we need to retire the bottle of that Chardonnay on the Hall of Fame shelf.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
And it sounds like there's a road trip being planned to your winery at the moment. So keep us in the loop, you guys. Maybe we can come.
You have to come for a road trip to the winery still when you're in Ontario.
We still need to. We really do. And we haven't made it out to Prince Edward County either.
Yeah.
So how
Opposite
many
way.
hours from Niagara are you driving?
Well, basically, so here's Ontario as a whole.
Yeah.
Niagara's smack dab in the middle.
Yeah.
We're about almost 4 hours south of Niagara, right on the Toronto-Detroit, right on the Windsor-Detroit border. So we're right at the end of Ontario.
Right.
And then Prince Edward County is more or less the opposite direction. So between us and Prince Edward County, it's about a 6 to 8 hour split.
Okay, but you to Niagara is like
depends on Toronto traffic.
Four.
It depends on what you hit in the middle.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're gonna find, basically in terms of Ontario, you're gonna find the majority of the wineries concentrated in Niagara. Then your second most amount of wineries will actually come out of Prince Edward County. And then the least amount, like the smallest region, will actually be Lake Erie North Shore. But as I like to tell everybody, we are actually Canada's Florida down here.
Canada's Florida.
We are Canada's Florida. As I'm saying that, and it's minus 10 degrees outside right now, but it's much better than last night. Last night was touch and go with turning on the wind machine.
Nice. Oh, sorry, we've got more guests stopping by.
Yes, sir.
It's so nice to see you
Backstage
guys.
is filling up here with American friends. I'm telling you. I told people we have we have Canadian Chardonnay open. We said it during the talk, and now I have to kick the kids out because woof. Okay. A couple things I want to talk to you first. It's like, how the fuck in the world Can you manage to make a $22 Cabernet Franc at that quality? I haven't been able to wrap my head around the process just yet. And I've tasted your Cab Franc for 3 vintage running now. The 2022 is as good as the 2021. Is as good as the 2020. How do you guys manage that, for God's sake? This is to me one of the best value wine in the whole country.
It's our labor of love.
The labor of love, the Muscedere spice.
It's definitely our labor of love. So I mean, that's a good question. When you look at Ontario as a whole, I would say when you look at Lake Erie North Shore, just right across the board, Lake Erie North Shore, in terms of value, you're going to get a very high value. And it's probably because you're getting that high value because we're the furthest away from Toronto and Ottawa. And I feel like as you get closer to Toronto and Ottawa, everything becomes more expensive. Yeah.
I mean,
I can't answer it. We also we still are. So like our winery is the basement, like our retail store is the basement of our house, which I am currently sitting in right now. So for those of you that have been to the winery, for those of you that have not, basically when people pull down the street, they just think it's a house that has a lot of cars at it all the time. So from the road, it just looks like somebody's house. But when you pull in the driveway, it's once you get past the house that you notice what's going on behind it, that you notice there's, I would say, an actual business here. So we've just stayed small and we've kind of tried to keep our quality as high as possible.
You and your 2 brothers are running. This is you and your 2 brothers, but the boss in all that, it's Nana.
My mom.
Nana's the boss. Nana's the boss. And the people know when they visit the winery, Nana's the boss.
Nana's the boss. Yes.
Okay. What's the plan with the Syrah? Okay. Do you guys are going to put the 2020 Syrah? Are you going to put it in any competition? Are you planning? Because we put that Syrah in our advent calendar this year. I scored it 94 points. This Syrah is absolutely world class, Melissa. It's incredibly refined, outstandingly layered. Like this has all of the varietal characteristic of what you can expect for a Syrah. I mean, this wine has to go somewhere where you guys need to win an award for that. I mean,
well, it already got number 10 in your top 10 wines.
Number 10, yes, absolutely.
1,500 tasted.
So I do the same competitions almost every year. So we will enter it in the Wine Align Nationals competition. We will do all Canadian, and we probably are submitting a few wines to decanter this year. And this will be the first time that we actually do that competition.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm bringing the point here because a Syrah at that level for $44 or $42, I mean, it's incredible. The case production, we're talking about what, 100 cases production?
That one we did 100 cases on it. So with Syrah, you're not going to see a lot of Syrahs coming out of Ontario anymore. And the reason for that is Syrah is our problem child in the vineyard. So Syrah buds start to die at about minus 18 degrees Celsius. So last night when our temperature did drop, usually the reason that our wind machine is going on in the middle of the winter is because we're going to end up with bud damage on our Syrah. So what a lot of Ontario wineries have done, since Syrah is not that winter hardy, is they've basically pulled Syrah, since you couldn't guarantee we're going to get it every single year. There are still a few of us that are doing the Syrah. I think the ones that are doing it are still doing a very fantastic job with it. You're just going to see rather limited quantities of Syrahs coming from Ontario.
So did you hit the critical point last night, or you guys are okay? Because I know the alarm goes off at the winery when you guys
Luckily-
hit that minus
Luckily,
18?
Our alarm did not go off last night because I have not slept for the past 3 days in fear that it would go off. I deleted 2 different weather apps off my phone because I don't even want to know the weather anymore.
Oh, no.
But yeah, so they were calling for minus 20 last night, and the temperature that
By
we
the
did-
way, it's Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
yeah, minus 20 Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So we did hit about minus 18 and a half, but it was for like a very small window. And the thing is, when we hit minus 18 and a half, we had 20-kilometer-an-hour wind. So when you
Okay.
have wind, you're not
The
turning
air
off.
move. Yeah, you have air circulation, so you're good.
So yeah, so we should be fine through last night. The thing is, we go into winter with a lot of buds to work with. So
Okay.
you might have a little bit of damage, but nothing extensive. It's the prolonged cold. So like what happened in BC last winter, what happened here in Lake Erie North Shore in 14 and 15. It's the prolonged cold that's really, I would
Yeah.
say, killer cold.
Oh, that's a good news. That's a very good news. So, Melissa, you haven't slept in 3 days. I
No.
think it's late there. I'm gonna let
I'm going
you
to
go to
bed
sleep.
soon. It's 8:40.
I mean-
It's almost my bedtime.
Yeah, I know. We just tasted some outstanding wine side by side with a Ontario wine. So we're here in California. Really, really cool. It's Muscedere week here. We feature 9 wines from 9 or 10 wine from Muscedere Vineyard.
And with
Yeah,
extra,
with the extra capsule.
yes, yeah, we have 2 vintages of your Capsule because look, you gave us early access to some of these wines so early that when we tasted your Riesling, it wasn't even labeled yet. And that is
Yep.
our favorite thing because it was like green tape. That is the best.
You know, when I get a wine with green tape and a handwritten note on it, I know we're up for good shit. I know that this is so cool and that the Riesling didn't disappoint at all. The price point is incredible. Melissa, thank you so much for your partnership again this week. And we're excited to send a ton of members your way this summer.
Certainly. Enjoy the rest of your time in California.
Thank you.
We're heading back north tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a hockey tournament happening in the weekend, so I have to get the kids back on ice.
Hockey is life. Hockey is
For us Canadians, that's the thing. But hey, sounds like the summer is coming and sounds like Jim, Daryl, Mike, these guys have a little road trip planned out to see you. And hopefully maybe if this year or next year, we'll join them and make sure we get out to see you. So that'll be awesome.
awesome.
Thank you,
so
Melissa.
much, Melissa. Have a great night. Thanks
You're the
again.
best.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
There you go.
Wow,
Muscedere
so cool.
week. The room is packed.
Yay!
Hey.
Thanks,
Hey,
guys.
bunch of California friends. What do you guys think of the Canadian wines? Is it the
Fun.
first time? First time Canadian wines?
So
No?
we just introduced Sonoma winemaker
Yeah.
and some California. Are you guys all from California? Yeah, California
No.
wine lovers. Oh, where are you guys from?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
From a winery in
Wow.
Wisconsin? Yeah. What's the
What's
name of the
the
winery?
Von Stiel.
Von
57 years
Stiel.
old.
57-year-old winery in Wisconsin named
And
Von
you
Stiel.
are on the sales side, the owner,
I'm one of the owners.
one of the owners. So we have the
wow.
owner of a winery in Wisconsin.
That
here.
is cool.
That is really fucking cool. This is really, really
I
cool
see a lot
here.
of road trips in our future.
Look at that.
Use that for marketing, like those words.
Yeah. 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 It is really fucking cool.
The game a little bit, I think.
I love that. So
Certainly is
57-year-old,
Yeah.
57-year-old.
I told
Yeah,
Carl,
what's in there?
we're filming our first TV series, and in Canada, you're not allowed to swear if you're on TV.
But there
Yeah.
you are.
I
And-
keep stumbling and I keep like, blah, shit, I did it again.
Yeah, but I said, if you just swear in French, it might be all right. I don't know. But then again, we're bilingual, so maybe not. But
And you ladies, you're from California?
Yes.
From a winery?
Yes.
Which winery?
McPrice Meyer.
Price Myers.
McPrice Meyer.
Oh.
Denner Vineyards.
Dinner
Denner
Vineyards.
Vineyards. Here.
There you
marketing.
go. Awesome.
This is so cool, you
That's
guys.
awesome. So it seems like a little bit of California mix here. Here we have.
Thank you.
Irish AF.
There
Oh,
you
I
go.
love it.
That's awesome.
We say that a
Very
lot too.
cool.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Price Myers.
it comes
Oh,
with
that's
the
really
French
cool.
accent.
Paso
It's not
Robles.
serious, right?
Very
It's
cool.
just like, yeah, I
Very
mean,
cool.
it's for fun. It's
I
for
think
fun.
this is the new, 2025 is our 5th year as Carl's Wine
Yeah.
Club. And I have been killing our kids, our 3 kids, because every year I'm like, oh, this is the year of last year was the year of the knife. Everybody learned how to use a knife at the dinner table. Okay. It was the year of the knife and the year of the teeth. We all got electric toothbrushes. But for Carl's Wine Club, it's our 5th year. And maybe this is also the year of,
The clean language?
no,
Really?
international stuff.
International stuff.
I mean, we're here in California. We've always dreamt of going to the famous wine regions of the world where we believe Canadian wines stand shoulder to shoulder at the same table with the best wines out there, and tasting wines with amazing people like you guys. So this
And
is
then-
amazing.
This is our first. My dream is to go to Burgundy and pull out a bottle of Canadian Chardonnay, all of my friends, say to the vigneron, here you go, taste that. You know? So now we just did it. Like, I mean, 94 points, James Suckling.
And Carl was like, this is at least 93 or 94 points. So,
Nailed it. James and I have the same palate. He just makes much more money than I do when you review a wine, but I'm coming for you, James. So yeah. This is Muscedere Week. We have 10
Yes.
wines from Muscedere Vineyards from the Lake Erie North Shore. The selection is absolutely outstanding. All 90 points or better, all the way to 94 points. Guys, if you're a wine geek and you know about the Piemonte in Italy, they produce Nebbiolo and Barbera. Well, guess what? Yeah, Muscedere produced Nebbiolo and Barbera.
for real.
So one of the only Canadian vineyards to do so.
And the Nebbiolo, we had that wine and it was a great night. It was one of those wines where you're going to open that wine. It's going to be a great night. And it just kept getting better as the night went on.
And the day after, the second day, that wine was also
Nice to meet you guys. Cheers. Yeah.
there's
there.
pizza.
At
So-
the cellar place? No. Oh, there you go.
There you
Italian wine
go.
and Pizza.
So
Lots of good stuff.
So
happening
yeah,
here.
and keep your eyes on, look at that, the 2021 Cap Sauv, under $30 will blow your socks off. If you like bold Cap Sauv, the length of that wine stood out to me. Like, it was incredibly impressive. We also have the 2020 Cap Sauv. And keep an eye on the Syrah, 2020 Syrah, 94 points, Carl's Wine Club. It was the star of our Advent calendar. These wines are in pre-release. No one has access to that but just you guys. Only exclusively Carl's Wine Club members have access to the Nebbiolo, the Barbera Cab, the Syrah, and the new release of the Rieslings as well. So,
And like Melissa said, they make about 2,000 cases. And it usually just goes out that door that she was sitting next to.
but the
So-
Nebbiolo and the Barbera, they made 38 cases of each.
And that doesn't even, if you visit the winery, they often don't even tell you about those ones
Yeah.
because they're so tiny production, right? So this is your chance, you guys, to get something super rare, super amazing,
Incredible shipping rates.
and incredible shipping rates. Way less than the actual shipping costs,
Yeah.
which here at the conference with a bunch of winery people, everyone's talking about how shipping rates.
Shipping, it's a big
are a big
topic
problem.
here, not only in Canada.
So
I'm
you
gonna-
get to be exempt from that, at
Yeah.
least for
Another
a
week. Okay, so thanks everyone for tuning in. We're gonna get back to our crowd and chat with our guests. But real pleasure to see y'all. See my American accent? How fucking good is that? I
Very good.
see y'all. Okay,
Cheers, guys.
Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members. See you next time.
Cheers.